Hey, there's probably audio now.
All right, back to the
Cool.
beginning.
Back to the beginning. Sorry, everyone. Hey, we're here at Building 61. We're the launch team for what should be a balloon launch this morning. We did not have audio there as we were doing that introduction, so we're going to try to cover everything that we just covered. The balloon launch is not going to happen. We've got unfavorable wind conditions, including a not really a safe landing zone. Everything based on our predictions this morning looks like it's going to travel just east of Denver and land smack dab in the middle of Denver. So not exactly ideal to land in the middle of an urban center. Not safe for many reasons. Also, the likelihood of retrieving the payload, I feel like, goes dramatically down just because of the amount of areas that we might not be able to get access to.
Also, imagine if this thing drops in the middle of I-70 eastbound, and let's just say coincidentally it lands on top of an over-the-road tractor trailer that's headed for New York. You would be watching our flight drift very, very slowly across Kansas for about 17 hours, and then across the entire East over a couple more hours, and be wondering what happened. And we would be explaining that we in fact landed on top of a moving truck. Jeff, what other kinds of hazards are out there, and what are our ideal landing conditions? And then what are your typical landing conditions?
So our ideal landing conditions are Denver's uniquely placed, Boulder's uniquely placed in the jet stream so that the prevailing winds run east, and they run east really fast, about 100 miles an hour above 15,000 feet typically. And we love that because what it does is picks the payload up and deposits it out on the vast, flat, treeless American plains, perfect for recovery. Basically,
Very dry,
no trees, no mountains, no people, perfect. Awesome. We love that. So it makes Colorado one of the most ideal places, the West, a really ideal place to do these kind of launches with extremely easy recovery. The other interesting thing about Colorado is that it doesn't have a lot of water. You don't have to worry about dropping payloads in water unless you're Maine.
We don't.
Yeah, unless you're Maine. And about a third of the launches that I've been involved with since 2009 have ended up in water in Colorado. So in 2011, I put one in Cherry Creek Reservoir in Aurora, Colorado. In Mother's Day 2018, 2019, 2018,
yeah.
We dropped one in Carter Lake, just east of Fort Collins, Loveland area. And then about 6 weeks after that, we dropped one in a private lake out near Greeley, Colorado, where I had to kind of run in, swim to get the payload, and then
these really nice people helped you out.
Yeah, these furious hillbillies chased me off their property.
And Robbie, what are the percentage area-wise chances that you hit water in this somewhat arid state?
Isn't it like 0.02%?
I think it's 0.02.
It's statistically insignificant. It's well with margin. I am margin of error.
You can just divining rod.
Call me Marge.
I think Colorado water problem could be solved by this man right here.
Yeah,
unintentionally.
Water supply issues. Call Jeff.
Right.
Adam, we're not just calling these flights off because we're extremely tired and so impressed by the work that the space campers have already done. We actually use some tools to figure this stuff out. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So what you're seeing up on the stream now is the prediction map software that we use. Right now, based on our predictions of trying to get a high altitude flight, so something that we are looking to get way up there. So in this case, 30,000 meters. That's around 100,000 feet. If you're looking at the map, we are starting up here in Boulder, and then the balloon gradually ascends. And then we're like going right towards areas where we would love to be able to retrieve a balloon from landing. And then it makes a hard left and pops right over Denver. Now, this is going to be around 100,000 feet at this point. and then it'll land somewhere right in the middle. Now, there are variables that we can try to change to get different predictions for this landing, and normally we're pretty accurate. The last 3 or 4 launches that we've done, we've been accurate within 5 miles. So it's pretty much dead on.
And how does that calculator work?
So the calculator asks us for a couple different variables. The main variables being the ascent rate, the burst altitude that we're looking for, as well as the descent rate. So the descent rate is known based on the weight of the payload. Our payload is about 1,400 grams. It's got about a 4-foot parachute on it, and that lets us descend at that rate of about 4.75 meters per second.
Nice.
That will be different based on the size of the parachute. We only have smaller parachutes. This is the biggest one we have, so we can't really slow descent any more than we're presently asking it to. The ascent rate is based on the amount of hydrogen in the balloon that we're putting in there as we're sending it up. So if we try to equalize it, so if the payload is 1,400 grams and the balloon has a neck lift of 1,450 grams, you can imagine that balloon is going to very, very, very slowly drift off of the ground. And what that will mean is a very long flight. So just for example, assuming that the burst altitude doesn't change with this calculation, I change this ascent rate of 0.5 and run the prediction. Hey, we're way out of Denver, but we also have a 17-hour and 28-minute flight.
And we're crashing like west of Pueblo there, so it's a bit of a haul.
And so the longer the flight is too, the less likely our predictions
Is
are
that
going
in a
to be
lake?
accurate.
No.
Not quite.
Well, I saw the blue dot.
We could, it's feasible.
I could
I'll fill the
this
balloon.
to
Gotta
0.51
get
or
it
something.
So in addition this calculation doesn't just update based on the variables that we create here in the shop, but it's using real-time weather data. Is that right?
That is correct. So this is using real-time wind data that's always coming out, and as well as wind predictions. So a really cool visualizer of this is going to be on a website called Windy, which I'm going to pull up here. It's going to take me just a moment to switch the screens on my tab. Always the fun technical bit. It's like every Zoom call or Zoom presentation. Where's my slides? Where's the button?
Benny Hill music.
Or the Beverly Hills Cop.
There we go.
There we go.
I think we're looking at it now. Yes, we are. Okay, here's the wind map. Now, the trick here is that this is really only showing us surface level winds. I'm not exactly sure how to get winds at altitude on here.
There's a,
We'll just demonstrate this on the surface level right now. So if we zoom in way in on Denver right now, is that, and it's probably difficult to see on the stream, is there should be animation of little particles moving that look like wind. And if I go to a windier area on the map, you might be able to see them because it's kind of just pushing.
Right. This kind of
What's the
makes
top?
sense. If everyone's in this area is looking outside their window right now, it's kind of beautiful and calm. And you would think that this is a great day to launch a balloon. But we're talking about winds aloft. And I don't know at what altitude we start sort of dividing ground wind to winds aloft.
so
60,000 is where it changes for our predictions.
Yeah.
Like that's the moment that it makes that hard line.
so if you've ever
60,000, it's heading hard back to the west.
Yeah.
if you've ever flown in and out of Denver, there's a very specific weather pattern that Denver experiences as the wind comes over the front range of the Rockies. The jet stream acts like like it's coming off a wing. Actually, the front range of the Rockies compresses the wind, and as it decompresses and comes off the Rockies, there's a prevailing easterly flow, and it picks up speed very quickly. We have a condition today, and as it drops off the mountains, we get what's called mountain rotor. And as you fly into Denver, almost always you experience that mountain rotor somewhere around 12,000 feet. which is where the wind drops off and it acts like a waterfall. And then what's happening today is because of the prevailing weather patterns, we're starting to pull warm air off the Gulf of Mexico, and our prevailing weather pattern in the central part of the country is really influencing the launch prediction here. So it's like thinking about if you watch the flow of a river, we're in a very strange eddy.
We get an eddy.
Yeah, we're in
so
an
it
eddy.
swirls and kind of hangs up
Yep.
right here from.
And where that eddy, develops, changes with the weather patterns, the Earth's heating, the ocean's heating, all that stuff. But today is a remarkably bad condition.
So eddy and rotor.
Eddy and rotor.
Eddie Rotor, like
Yeah.
the lead singer of Pearl Jam. I think that's that same guy.
Eddy rotor.
That's what it's named after.
That's right.
Awesome. I think Adam's got this other like really cool animation wind map right
Yeah, this one's a kind of an interesting, it's more of an art project than it is a weather prediction software, but it's called hint.fm/wind. And this will show you a little bit more a graphical representation of the direction of the wind right now. So you can see this on the stream. We've got all of this wind coming right up off of Texas. And then we've got some wind coming right off of the Rockies. So we're in this little vortex area right over Denver where there's absolutely no wind moving at all, but the area around it's moving very quickly.
And you ran, I mean, honestly, we really hated to do this, especially so late, but obviously these are real-time updates and predictions. But Adam, you ran how many variations on the prediction last night to try to land us anywhere?
As many as I physically could, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it was
an
just a
hour and a half.
nonstop, just trying to change variables. So I mean, other things that we could potentially control, we can adjust the weight of the payload. We could try making it heavier. We could try making it lighter. We can work on overfilling the balloon to make it descend quicker to see if we can get it land closer somewhere on the foothills. But everything that we try to put in is some variation of what you saw on the map earlier, where it goes east for a while, pops, and then goes west. So it's either we're going up and popping and landing in Denver from one direction or the other. There's no escaping from it at this point, at least without an extremely long flight.
So, we received kind of the methodology for how we launch balloons from people before us, and those people are real masters at this. That's the Edge of Space Sciences group, and they work out of CU Boulder, and they've been doing educational launches for people for probably 25 years, and they're an amazing group of people. One of the reasons that we're doing what we're doing as in-depth as we're doing it is to try to build on the work that EOSS has done in the past and to deliver that more specifically into classrooms so that educational institutions, libraries, private individuals can do their own launches. But what Edge of Space Sciences does is they maintain a couple of launch areas. One is north of us, about 25 miles in Wellington, Colorado, and the other one is southeast of us in Deer Trail, Colorado. And those launch sites account for different wind conditions. The variable we can't control today is that we wanted to do the launch with the space camp attendees, and we had to do that in order to meet all the requirements for insurance and safety and everything else. We were going to do our launch here in Boulder, and we can't move that position. In the past, we've been able to move our launch position to account for differences in wind patterns and air traffic control and all kinds of stuff. But today, our forcing function was the fact that we wanted to include the young men and people who built the payload in the launch, so we had to launch from Boulder.
Yeah. So what is the backup plan going forward? It's sort of anybody's best guess. We are going to look at tomorrow morning at the same time. Right now, the percentage chance there is 50-50 at best. So tomorrow's not looking good either. We will update things as sort of close to that time as we can. In all likelihood, we're looking probably a week out from today as my guess for our next best launch, and maybe even the following weekend if that's possible, and maybe that'll help us get some more people in attendance. What do you think, Adam?
That's seeming likely. Tomorrow is probably a 50-50 shot. Unfortunately, we're looking at rain for least the next 5 days, according to prediction.
Yeah.
But that may be favorable in the mornings. It may be all right for us to launch then. It might get rainy in the evenings. We're just going to have to look and see what our
So
What-
where can
what- how it's
people,
going?
yeah, where can folks find out when we're going to go? Same places. We see some of you tuned in right now. You want to check the calendar at building61.org. We'll add some notes to those events. Back here on YouTube, we would be doing this same time tomorrow. That's starting 11 a.m. for actually the launch flight footage. And check our social media. We're Building 61 on Instagram and Twitter. And we're also updating the rest of the library staff. So if you phone in and you ask what's happening or where it's happening, we're trying to make it possible for the general library contact line to answer that question accurately. So, wish us luck. Stay tuned. This is, it's kind of our first, actually, we figured this out. It's about our 8th launch. This is the first one that we've had to scrub for weather. And so, we've got a pretty good chance. It's only a 12.5% chance that we cancel, which is not that bad. But this is what happens when you see this happen on SpaceX or at NASA. It's the same kind of thing. Things got to be sort of lined up cosmically completely and weather-wise. And it just didn't happen for us today, but hope you learned a little bit about how we make these decisions. And we hope that you'll tune in and or join us for the rescheduled launch. And we'll let you know when that's going to be as soon as we possibly can.
All right. Until next time. Thanks, everyone. Keep on making.
Peace out.
Take care.